when the world's too dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends, so join the book club by DLC.
Hello there, book clubbers. Hope you're having a good Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. We're recording one day later today. Lana Bashinsky here. I'm Jeff Kennard. Lana Bashinsky's here. She's in parts unknown, traveling, got work things, wearing a hat.
Unknown in LA, you know, this is the sign. I'm in like a travel wear. You can tell. I'm
That's
abroad.
good.
It's not the usual vibe, not the usual sound or look, but in it to win it, baby.
You look like you're ready to enter a rap battle.
A rap battle, a jog. It's a sporty feeling.
Hey, based on how voluminous your hair is, it's impressive that it gets all the way up in there in that hat.
I only recently got into hats when I realized it would all fit. For a long time, I tried to just put it, but I got the sideshow bob going on.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I got a small skull.
Yeah.
So I was nervous. I need the big
hair, small skull.
Small skull. Really dense brains, though. So smart. Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt about that. We got some chapters to talk about this week. My goodness. A whole play to get into. It's interesting. We're doing chapters 22 through 26 of Claw of the Conciliator this week. We like to start with a non-spoiler topic. Didn't have any like amazing ideas this week. And hey, would love your ideas, ladies and gentlemen. Send them to us, dlcfeedback@gmail.com, where we don't have any new ones to talk about. So if you have topics for the beginning of the show, please don't hesitate to send them. But I was relating to Lana before we started. We had like a whole show before we even started recording. And I was relating that I had this experience with a person who will remain nameless, that I found out that they were super into reading, and I was so excited because, you know, sadly, relatively rare in these times of ours to find somebody that is into books in a big way, and specifically into sci-fi and fantasy books. And so I was so excited, and I started talking to this person. I was like, "Oh, what books are you reading?" And then they mentioned a couple of books, and I was like, "No." Wow.
Those kinds of books?
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. So I wanted to bring up, you know, kind of like that experience and what you do in that moment. I mean, we've talked about recommending things to people and trying to find the right recommendation for the right person and not sort of thrusting someone out of their comfort zone. You know, I'm not like, "Have you tried the Malazan Book of the Fallen?" You know, I mean, maybe we'll work up to that. But I don't know. I was crestfallen, as you might imagine, to learn. I'm not going to mention the books because I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not going to mention the person. But it was, let's just say, a type of book that I think is not particularly there's not a lot of care given in the crafting of the book. And this is not a book we've talked about before. I'm not throwing any huge authors under the table here, under the bus. It's really a very niche kind of book that it's pretty obviously not well written and amateurish, and it just bummed me out because it's like, well, you know, you've gotten your toe in the water, but it's not the water that's going to lead to, I think, all the joy that I find from the medium. So I'm curious what you would do in that situation, because I just got quiet.
I will say I do feel a real tension in those situations because fundamentally even if it's something that I'm like, oh, it's like a low work quality, I'd be like excited to show you things that I think could be a higher quality and hope that somebody wants to dive in and try something that might push them out of their comfort zone. But I also love when people love what they love, and if they're into it, they're into it. Like that is my base feeling. But the tension is that one of the things that I love doing is poking fun at stuff. I like teasing, and I've said it on the show at least a few times, probably a million times at this point. Like, part of my enjoyment of anything is pulling it apart and criticizing is the wrong one. Critiquing it, talking about the things that I don't like as much as I love talking about the things that I do like. I get a lot of joy from the discussion and the banter. And in my family, we grew up very sarcastic, and like, if you're going to say a joke that doesn't land, you're going to get teased. And so I have a lot of resilience as an individual to love the corny stuff I love. I know Stargate isn't the best sci-fi show in history. Right. I love it unabashedly, and you can come at me and mock me for it, and I will take it, and I will love that feeling.
Yeah.
And so my usual inclination is to deliver that feeling unto others.
To mock mercilessly?
That would be the way to put it. Yeah. So it's tough to be like, to live in that space where I'm like, I want you to love what you love, but I also want to make fun of you and know that that is out of love. And so what would I have done? Pull it up, read a few sentences out loud and be like, interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's talk about this.
It's hard to talk about. Like I said, I don't want to.
We're talking agnostic of your situation.
Agnostic of my situation. But I'll use a metaphor because, and again, I understand that I'm being condescending here. Mm-hmm. So part of that is my own guilt at the condescension and going, oh, you don't like the literary works I enjoy. But it was to me like having a conversation being like, I love music. Oh, I love music too. What music are you into? And they're like, have you heard of the kazoo? That's to me what it was the equivalent of, and I'd be like, oh.
I think if there's that interest, like if somebody using that metaphor, if somebody was like, I love the kazoo, and I clearly never want to listen to a kazoo,
right?
Then it becomes a social experiment. Why? Can you break down for me what it is you like about this? And then it's about me getting to know that person, and then ideally on the other end, trying to offer a recommendation for something that they might like as well. Right. That would give us more mutual ground to talk about a thing we might.
Yeah, I think that's the worry is that the reason they like the kazoo is because it's easy and it doesn't challenge them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess that's fine. It's just I'm just so diametrically opposed to that position in my own what gets me excited.
Well,
and, and I say that, and we're about to talk about chapters where I'm like, I have no idea what I read. So like I'm not holding myself up as some,
yeah. But
genius.
I think even like offering people, some people I think will shy away from something assuming it will challenge them. Right. I was really nervous going into Molassin, but knowing that I'd be going through it, chatting with you, and it gave me a lot of confidence that we would be having an interesting discussion no matter what, and knowing that it wasn't about any particulars of myself or about highlighting my failings, but just about experiencing something,
right?
And not shying, inviting somebody into something more challenging. Even if they're a little bit intimidated by it, if they wouldn't register that about themselves, they might feel it while they're in it. I went through this with my nephew, who's very young, just barely hit double-digit age. And for Christmas last year...
Should be reading Proust by now.
Exactly. But at Christmas last year, me and my husband gave my nephews like a favorite book from the age that we were when we were their age, and we had given them Ender's Game.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned this to me last week off camera, mm-hmm. and I brought it up to my son, and I was like, will you, because I loved it. I mean, I very problematic feelings about Orson Scott Card, but Ender's Game is brilliant, and mm-hmm. I love it very much, and I want my son to read it. And he was like, he agreed he would.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. And it was the first book that my nephew read where there's words in it that were even more sort of fantastical or technical sounding, sci-fi words.
Yeah.
That my brother told me that he would be like, I don't understand what the concept of this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to talk about what it means to use your imagination in those points. So he was challenged by it, but discussing it and then finding a way through that, it became like his favorite book. He did like a big school project about it, A+ baby, like very
That's
amazing
great.
things. But I think even handing him the book, it's thicker than other books that he's read. The cover is a different weird thing. It's clearly like an older book. There's so many pieces that would be easy to bounce off of. And inviting somebody and being like, I think that you should try this and let's talk about it. I think that would be my path through.
That's awesome. I love it. Side note, man, when I read Ender's Game at whatever age I was when I read it, probably around there, 11, 12, something like that. Never have I been more disappointed by sequels.
Really?
Just because that age, I wanted more adventure stories. And it was like, no. Let's like delve into like the religious connotations of what this is all about.
Did you read Ender's Shadow though?
Huh? Ender's Shadow I've never read. That came out way later. I've never read Ender's Shadow. I know that it's supposed to be great because it's from.
Let's read it together.
Okay. Again, not really wanting to give Orson Scott Card a lot of time.
That's true. That's true.
But like Speaker of the Dead.
It's a great book. You're wrong.
It might very well be, but for like 11-year-old me who just came off of the adventure story that is Ender's Game, it's not an adventure story.
It's 30 years in advance where one man feels the guilt of.
Yes. It's like, let's talk about the Messiah complex. And where's the fun laser pistols that I was enjoying?
This isn't about kids anymore. These are like adults.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. You gotta read Ender's Shadow. We'll talk about that later. Because Orson Scott.
Yeah.
Not great. Not great.
Not a guy I'm going to invite on the show.
Yeah.
Just put it that way. All right. Well, anyway, it's a little problematic stuff in these chapters right now. We'll get to that. Thank you for indulging me on that topic. But we love listener topics. So again, dlcfeedback@gmail.com. All right. Spoilers starting now. Chapter 22 of Claw of the Conciliator. It is entitled Personifications. We have Severian kind of fleeing, running for his life at the end of the last chapter. And he kind of barrels into this forest, for lack of a better term.
Was he fleeing? I thought he was like he wasn't fleeing. He got directions to the green room, which is the garden.
Oh, that's right. But didn't he see like a scary thing? I can't remember where we left off. But I
he
thought
was walking. He stopped at the fountain, and then he saw that one of those statue
he threw
things.
the coin into the water. Right, and he saw the vision. That's what I'm thinking of, is that vision. Okay, sorry. Thank you for the correction.
No worries.
Anyway, coincidence of all coincidences, who does he run into? But his old theater buddies, his old drama club. They just happen to be there. Part of what is so, I think, disorienting to me about this novel, I think very much in contrast to Shadow of the Torturer, which felt so clear and grounded for most of it. Again, some stuff gets crazy, but this one just feels like a fever dream through the whole thing. It's just like we're just bouncing into people and running into it is so almost episodic and very
Severian's wacky walkabout.
It really is, and it's so dreamlike. And he's like, I'm on my way to Thrax, but don't really care about getting there. And like, oh look, it's all the people that I know. Very weird. Anyway, he runs into Dr. Talos, Baldanders, Jolenta. And Dorcas, we're reunited, and it feels so good. But
even then, he doesn't spend. Gene Wolfe doesn't spend a lot of time on the reunion. Severian shows up, and he's like, "Yeah, Dorcas was there, and it was cool." But she's out right now. She's getting water.
Which Dr. Talos is like, how brave of her. And Severian's like, "What? What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, she's terrified of water, bro. That even when she bathes in like a thumb
thimble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he says like a thumb depth or something of
Yeah.
water. And she's terrified of it. Whenever we go over bridges, she's shaking like a leaf. And Severian is like, I have no context as to why that would be.
There's nothing. There's no man who told me a story once, or any other reasons why I would think that should be true.
There's no place where I first encountered her that would lead someone to be terrified of water at all.
I saw her spit up all these rocks once, and I didn't think anything about it.
It is funny when he runs into. It's such a surreal moment. He's like wandering through, this outdoor area, and Dr. Taylor is like, "Hey, bro, I owe you money." It's like such a weird thing.
And it's one of those things again where he's like, "Oh my goodness, thank goodness that you're here. We almost had to recast the part."
Yeah.
And
He
I'm
shows up right before curtain call, baby. Right before.
Silly.
It's amazing, right? But it's like the guy I'm always terrified of when I do a play. Where is he? Where is he? Oh, he's 2 minutes before we go on. There he is. Okay.
I haven't been in a play since so long, and it's still like the thing I have nightmares about sometimes.
Dude, quick little anecdote. I was doing a play in Los Angeles at a pretty prestigious theater company, and it was Gary Marshall's theater company. It was what's now the Gary Marshall Theater, was then called the Falcon Theater, and one of the guys that was in the play stepped out behind the theater while he was in between scenes, and the door closed and locked him out. And he couldn't get back in the theater to make his entrance for the next scene. And we're on stage, and everybody's like, "Where's the dude?" And he was like outside banging on the door, like, "Let me back in."
Oh my gosh.
Good times.
Stressful.
Good times.
He's still having nightmares about that one.
Oh, dude. No one let him forget it. I was like, "Are you just going to walk outside and let the door close behind you, idiot?" Anyway, so the troupe, they're gonna do a play. You're back in. Thank goodness. Dr. Talos has been editing the play, working on it hard. Severian, like, okay, keep working. He kind of wanders away, starts talking to Baldanders, and we have this kind of sad, sweet, kind of bittersweet little moment with Baldanders and Severian kind of realizing he's a kind of not the smartest tool in the shed, and he's trying to remember things, and I guess his house has been burned down, we find out, and they're just trying to raise enough money to rebuild their house, he and Dr. Talos.
But wouldn't this be enough money? How much is his house? They're like,
yeah.
Dr. Talos like holds up a coin. They're like newly minted coins from the Autarch, and he's like, "How much do you think this is worth?" It's like, oh yeah, somebody back home wouldn't have to work for the rest of their lives if they had one of these coins. And he's like divvying out stacks of them. Yeah. So it's like, oh, you're just trying to raise enough money for your house, which is a planet.
Oh, interesting. There's a lot of weird enigmatic stuff in these chapters with Talos and Baldanders. At one point, doesn't Dorcas asks, like, do you think that Baldanders is Dr. Talos's dad? It's like, do you think that Dr. Talos is his son? I was like, well, that's the opposite of what I would have assumed if there was a familial relationship.
Yeah,
it's weird.
There's there's less on the front end of it, so I don't know if we should talk about it now or when they sort of split up. But there's some weird Baldander lore drops through these chapters.
Yeah. Anyway, so. Then there's this weird moment where Severian hears Dr. Talos like whack Jolenta, and he says something like, "Hey, it's not her fault how she looks." And Talos is like, yeah, so gaudy. He's like, "You know why I respect you is because you're into Dorcas and not into the like pretty young thing over here."
Into this creation.
Yes. The thing that he turned into a, buxom.
We get a better description of it where it's beyond like, oh, she's like a voluptuous lady.
Yeah.
It is described almost gruesomely
Yes.
in that it's like, if you actually saw somebody with the proportions of Jessica Rabbit walking around, you'd be like, are you okay? How are your bones? And Jolenta is described as like walking, but being like kind of feeble under, it's not described as like the weight of her body, but the way they describe it is like little ankles and then huge thighs and like huge breasts that are like barely being held together by whatever fabric she has on her body.
Right.
And the way that Jolenta talks about herself, it's like, it is somebody who feels very insecure in the sense that they're talking about themselves constantly so that you could look at the things that they've done to try and not be insecure, but the insecurity is based in the fact that it's not real. And she knows that.
Yeah.
It's very strange. But it is like, it is one of those things that makes, when you think back about the book, it feels surreal because when you see her through like Jonas's eyes, it's like, this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. This is so wonderful. I'm in love with her. And you meet her first as like a normal waitress lady, and then she just looks different, but so beautiful. Everybody thinks she's so beautiful. And then it's the image of what she looks like is warping the more and more details that you get, that it retcons everything you've experienced so far. It's very...
Oh, totally. No, I think you're describing it exactly right. And you get the sense that he's done something that is equivalent to plastic surgery with her, like extreme, real, like body reshaping.
But it's not, because the way that I would think that, and then we get these scenes coming up with her in the boat with Severian, that it's like a hologram.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next chapter is called Jolenta, but before we get there, Severian has this moment where he reconnects with Dorcas, and they sit on this bench by a stream, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I brought you here. Water is so disturbing." And he's like, "What do you mean? It's delightful. We're sitting by this burbling stream." She's like, "No, isn't it so terrifying how water is right here next to the sun, but it's going to go down, down, down. It'll always go down." And Severian's like, "Have you heard about the water cycle?" He's like, do you know that it evaporates and goes up into clouds? So it goes up and then rains down. It's very funny. He's like,
she's like, that'd be pretty cool if that was a thing.
Yeah. It's like he's giving her like third grade science class. But she's like, I have these terrible dreams, these recurring dreams that I am shopping and everyone is mocking me and say that I'm this spirit that has inhabited this body and that I'm this abomination. And she's like, I'm terrified that it's true. Mm-hmm. Not subtle. And she's like, do you remember when we first, reconnected, when we saw that weird spaceship in the sky and when we reconnected with Dr. Talos and Baldanders? Remember what Dr. Talos said? He said he called me you death and me innocence. Yeah. And Severian is like, it's a metaphor, baby. Don't stress.
This is one of the weird sentences that I highlighted this time because this gave me a hunch. And Severian's like, no, it's a metaphor. And Severian says, this is the thing to remember. People don't want other people to be people. They throw names over them and lock them in. But I don't want them to let them lock you in. Dr. Talos is worse than most. In his own way, he's a liar. Well, this is Dorcas. She left the accusation unfinished, and I ventured. I once heard Baldander say he seldom lied. In his own way, I said. Baldanders is right. Dr. Talos doesn't lie the way other people understand lying. Calling you death wasn't a lie. It was a metaphor, I suggested. But it was a dangerous, bad metaphor, and it was aimed at you like a lie. Do you think Dr. Talos hates me then? I would have said that he was one of the few people who showed me real kindness since I left the Citadel. You, Jonas, who's gone now, an old woman when I met while I was imprisoned, a man in a yellow robe, who also called me death, by the way, and Dr. Talos. It's a short list, actually. Dr. Talos is definitely also the autarch.
Wow. Blowing my mind.
My turn, baby. My
Yeah.
turn.
Interesting. Okay.
So I wrote down, and I think my other hunch is, I wrote Severian, Dr. T, Man in Yellow, all the autarch question mark, maybe even Votalist, because Man in Yellow calls him death. Oh, Man in Yellow calls Severian death like Dr. T. Perhaps because he brings it, but maybe that's the connection to they are all the same kind of guy. And then even talking about Baldanders being like, is it his dad? There's this weird relationship between them. Something else is listed. I forget if it's now or I think it's after, but I'm just going to pull it a little bit forward. Dr. Talos is like, he's just young. He's still growing.
Right. And he's like, but I've seen gray hair on him. He has gray hairs. He's like,
he's a giant, weird guy. And I'm like, Baldanders there's something about like the people or the movement in the caves where the ape men, the monkey men were. But I'm like, I feel the red ropes connecting.
Yeah, no, I think you're making interesting connections. The other thing he says in that moment that is later is, no, I'm his master.
Yes. Baldanders is Dr. Talos' master.
That's right. Baldanders is the master, which doesn't comport with their dynamic at all, as far as I read it.
He literally says that, and Dr. Talos is like, anyway, enough with your wounds. Put the stuff on. Let's go. It's like...
Yeah. Well, and so I feel like there's several ways to read that, but one of which is Baldanders is deceiving himself in order to feel comfortable about his subjugation, right? Is just like, oh, no, I'm in total control here, when it's a lie. Or it's, he's hoodwinked by Talos, who's a liar. Or there's some truth to that is more mysterious and enigmatic than I can grasp right now.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he could pick up and want to still do the stuff even though he's hurt is because he feels responsibility. Like if he's the guy, then he would help out his young android. Right.
Well, I mean, I think that Dorcas suggesting that Talos is Baldander's son, and Baldander saying, I'm the master, are both suggesting a power dynamic in the same way, right? The power dynamic being inverted from what has appeared thus far.
The only clue that I feel like is missing for me, feeling like I could lock it in, is we meet the man in yellow robes at the House Azure. He's
the man in the yellow hat and his monkey.
Man in the yellow hat, and he was clearly a cyborg. Yeah. It was like the first person we noticed being like a real sci-fi guy. Yeah. Which means the autarch is. Have we gotten any clues other than his ability to modify Jolenta with some kind of, I'm not getting the right word, projections? We haven't had any clues that Dr. Talos is a cyborg.
Right. No, we have not.
Not
that I've seen. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm going to bring it together.
Love it. All right. Chapter 23 is Jolenta. Severian and Dorcas are talking about the Atrium of Time and Valeria, and they then leave the green room, or they return to the green room. I'm sorry, where everybody's kind of getting ready for the play and this big festival, and they are like ready to kind of put the stage together, and Talos is like finishing the script, and everybody's getting ready for the big performance. And then Jolenta comes up to Severian and is like, hey, will you come with me? I got to go to the garden. And we have this whole extended discussion there about how I can just make anyone fall in love with me. I just, everybody that looks at me, boys, girls, doesn't matter. They all want me. And it is this very, very surreal, like you said, almost kind of grotesque, almost horrific notion of her existence, which is from Severian's point of view, feels very shallow. Like he is judging how shallow she is. Mm-hmm. But from her perspective, feels
like a cry for help.
Yes, like horrific. And
yeah, she doesn't seem pleased with it, but she's talking. really hard to describe the edge that it feels when she's saying it, because the words themselves could sound boastful, but it sounds like a burden that she is bearing.
right.
And the burden she's bearing is, it almost is described like it's a physical weight on her body, but the problems that she's facing with it, she's saying it like they're problems, but she's just saying, everybody wants me. This is my life. Doesn't matter what I do, everybody wants me.
Yeah.
And then she's like, anyway.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, sweet opportunity.
But that's the thing. It's like, it's so peculiar because she is in the boat and there's all these flowers around. So I'm like, is it that there's pollen and these flowers that like make her pass out, that Severian's invulnerable to, either because of the claw or because he's a weird alien man? But she falls asleep.
Well, he even speculates in that moment. He's like, I don't know why she passed out. I don't know if she's just tired or if there's some other thing going on. He's like, but either way, I started unbuttoning her blouse.
Yeah, he's like, I ripped open her shirt and her thighs.
Yeah.
And it was like, what? But it was like it's so out of the blue that I don't think it was purely Severian being horrible, though he is. Her teeing all that up implies that she has some kind of pheromones. There's some kind of something that she's like, nobody can resist me.
Yeah.
But then when Severian goes in and is, assaulting her, basically, not basically, definitely, he goes to kiss her while she's unconscious. And he's like, it's so weird. As I got close to kissing her, her hair seemed like it changed colors. And when I touched her waist, it felt like a waist of a slender person. So it's some sort of illusionary.
Oh, interesting. I didn't really register that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I was just so full of ick in that moment, but it is a weird thing because the whole time leading up to that, he's like, I'm so not into this chick. I like Dorcas, not into her wiles, like everybody else, but not her. Talos is like, hey, it's so great that you're not into her and you're into Dorcas, And then the one moment he's alone with her, it's rapey time. It's like
and actually,
weird.
Going and reading it, he says, she falls asleep and he's like, okay, he just keeps rowing the boat. And they're going apparently very far in the boat. But he says, eventually I came to resent Jolenta's sleep. And that is the start of it. So I'm going to read this last little section of the chapter.
How incel-y is that?
Gross.
How dare you fall asleep on me?
Yeah. I abandoned the oar and knelt beside her on the cushions. There was a purity in her sleeping face, however artificial, that I had never observed when she was awake. I kissed her, and her large eyes, hardly open, seemed almost Agia's long eyes, and her red gold hair appeared almost brown. I loosened her clothing. She seemed half drugged, whether by some soporific in the heaped cushions or merely by the fatigue induced by her walk in the open and the burden of so great a quantity of voluptuous flesh.
She's just tired carrying around those boobs.
Honestly, I get it.
It's exhausting being
Girl,
so, But yeah, that's interesting. Like, yes, I remember he starts comparing her to Agia.
Yeah.
Which is super weird in that moment. But then he still wants to get it on. It's
Well, here's the question. If Jolenta got transformed from whoever the waitress was, and she's like, you don't recognize me? Is it possible that at some point Jolenta disappeared and this is just Agia and the weird edge and resentment, which sounds more like Agia than it ever did Jolenta, who was like, don't talk to me. Yeah. Maybe it is Agia.
I wouldn't put it past this book.
Yeah.
It seems really, wildly out of left field, but it also, I wouldn't put it past this book.
Honestly, I'll posit the theory. Official theory.
Official posit.
Official posit.
We need to have a stamp that comes in posited.
Yeah.
All right, so that leads us to chapter 24, which is by far the longest chapter of either of these novels to date. I turned the page and it was like an hour and 20 minutes of the chapter. What?
Every chapter's been 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then this one, I was like, okay, I should have read on the plane.
Hunker down.
Yeah.
Here we go. And we referenced a little bit at the beginning of the show that I have done lots of plays in my life. I got a degree in theater and a BFA in theater. So I've done many, many, many plays in my life, read many, many more. But it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've read a play. I used to do it all the time, and I haven't done it in a while because I have children that means I don't get to do plays. But man, what a weird adjustment from being in the middle of this prose novel to all of a sudden being stuck in an extended play, a play that is written like a play with this is the person talking, here's the dialogue. This is
Stage
the person.
directions.
Yeah.
Yep.
I found it jarring, frankly, and almost difficult to switch my brain over. Like I said, I've read many plays in my life, and yet all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is difficult. This is difficult for me.
The thing that was difficult for me is the frustration of knowing like that there's got to be something. This is telling me things that I am not going to get. This is I showed Jeff earlier. Is this ever going to show up?
There you go.
Took a bunch of notes. It doesn't like walk through step by step of the play because I assume you have some of that, or like is there like a play overview? But I wrote my pieces that I'm trying to get together.
All right. What do you want to do that first?
I don't know which one would be better. I
don't even know how to
the play.
The play also feels sort of disjointed.
It's very odd.
It's different things that don't flow one from the next. It's like this thing, and now it's this thing, and now it's that thing. So we start with, and the other thing is that you sort of have to infer who's playing which parts, and actors are playing multiple parts. So I think I found it more helpful when I was like, okay, I'm imagining Severian as this part. I'm imagining Jolenta as this part. I found that to be more helpful
because they only need to play a couple. They only play a couple. It doesn't say which role they play.
Right.
But the one thing that's interesting is they play limited roles, and Dr. Talos plays the rest of the roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I have. I'll just kind of barrel through it as fast as I can. Yeah. Gabriel says the setting of the old sun and the imminent rising of the new sun is happening. There's a giant named Nod. Guess who's playing that part? Searches for Mashia's son, but Gabriel says no. Mashiah and Mashane make a house, a homestead in the Autarch's garden, being watched over by Nod and the temptress Jahi. Or Jahai, whatever. The Autarch shows up. Mashiah and Mashane mistake him for a god. He flirts with Jahai, who rebuffs him, and then attacks Mashane.
I said Jahi as well.
Jahi, okay.
Yeah.
Then the Contessa enters the garden, and Mashiah strikes her. She recognizes that the new sun is coming. She fears that. And then there's two soldiers who show up and try to arrest Mashane and Jahi. Mashane flees, but Jahi is captured. Jahi gets a statuary guard of the House Absolute to aid her. And then in his throne room, the Autarch treats with a prophet and Nod about the new sun. Nod attacks the Autarch. Two demons appear, defeating Nod and warning the Autarch against Jahi. And then the Inquisitor and Torturer confer with Contessa before interrogating Mashane and Jahi. The soldier chains Nod. Jahi escapes, and the Torturer frees Nod to pursue her. Then the Autarch encounters the Torturer. Jahi is recaptured by Nod. Both are bound by the Torturer, who imprisons the Autarch. Nod begins to free himself from his chains. That's the play. Crowd loves it.
They right up until.
Right up until, yeah. The ending that seems to happen over and over with this theater company, but we'll get to that in a second.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So what are your? I felt like this is a very extended. The moment that we've talked about before with books where I'm letting it wash over me.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on, but I feel like a second reading, this would really come into clarity, But what are your takes, your notes?
That is exactly my approach for this whole section. I'm like, I'm going to try and understand basically anything that you're saying about like the autarch, and trying to highlight any little notes.
And I feel like the new son of it all is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I noticed is it is like the ogre story again. You have like the one guy who's like, I want to give my daughter to marry this person, but the ogre is part of it. It's a different way. Mashane and how did you say the other one's name? Messiah.
I mean, it sounds like Messiah to me, but I don't know. I think but
it has an N on the end as well.
Biblical stuff in here again.
Yeah, it's got like the same ogre story. That's the story that Severian read out loud to Jonas. Some of that DNA in this story again. Yeah. Adam and Eve vibes in there again with Jahi being the temptress.
Right.
As the serpent.
Snake. Yeah.
Kind of feelings. Gabriel looked like the autarch. It says that somewhere in it. My notes are so shorthand, so it's going to be really disjointed. I wrote, is that a Dr. Talos joke? Because, or is that the autarch is everybody, is now my suspicion. Not everybody, but anybody who looks like the autarch just is the autarch. And I assume saying this is more fodder for Dr. Talos is the autarch as well as if Gabriel looks like the autarch. Because he plays the autarch in the play. He plays it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. The autarch is also talking about, sometimes you have like your wife, but sometimes maids do be irresistible, am I right? And so he's talking about, I maybe have kids everywhere. I was thinking about, he's a clone, like all these different autarchs are maybe clones. There's some science technology. Maybe they all actually are his robo children. I don't know how robotic he is. Is he like Jonas, where he's primarily robot, fixed with flesh? Or is he primarily flesh with robot parts? I don't know. I don't know how that sci-fi stuff works, but there's my suspicions. In the play, the autarch is described in the yellow robes, but he thinks to himself, I can't believe people think I'm a god. He's faking divinity. And it's in the autarch's character's mind that he's like, this is so crazy that people believe this stuff.
Yeah.
Which, if Dr. Talos is the autarch, and this is like a
confession,
an exercise in things I've been really wanting to talk to people about and showcasing this.
Yeah.
But there is some broader thing that they refer to as the universal mind, which if Baldanders is Dr. Talos' master, is he the real sort of deity that people are thinking about, this bigger thing that could be, Gaia. It's the earth itself. This is the universal mind. There's a line about the Contessa, who somebody insults her by saying, you think that you are worthy of something, but you are not anything more than a corpse. Somebody calls the Contessa nothing more than a corpse. So the Contessa being played by Dorcas, there's their similarities. And the Contessa has something about being, if she gets pregnant, it could bring her body more to life. Okay, the earth. I just highlighted all of the clues. So the earth in the play is groaning. And they hear these great sounds, which is like inside the cave. This is a thing people know about.
Right. That kind of earthquake that we had inside the cave with the man apes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jahi does magic in the play. She gets captured by the ogre, and then she's like, "Let me go. Let me go. I can do magic, and I'll get you riches." And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to let you go a little bit, but do this magic." And the magic she does is changing the weather. She brings snow down. He's like, that's not the type of magic I care about. I've seen that type of magic. So, and she talks in response about how old she is. So Jahi in the play is maybe like a Jonas kind of person, being this other aged being. And the magic they can do, I don't know what it means. the weirdnesses of what magic is, how it works, where people go, and the way they talk about things. The greatest seed that I think I came away from the play with, I have a lot of other little, like, does this equal this? Does this equal this? Oh yeah, here's the other line. They talk about being under paradise.
Yeah.
The Autarch and Nod are talking. Where are you from? Well, I'm from my own country, to the east of paradise.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And where is that? Nod points to the east.
Yeah.
And where is paradise in the same direction? Nod. Why, this is paradise. We are in paradise, or at least under it. And we had that floating city thing. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, they're either like on this planet, and paradise is the name of a ship that's in orbit, this other city, or they're in a simulation.
Right.
Those are my two pieces. The other things I wrote down is the prophet in the play is maybe the representative of Father Anir.
Mm-hmm.
The old sun is talking about collapsing and pulling things into itself like dust. It's like a black hole is the idea of the old sun.
Yeah, definitely a black hole, certainly.
Yeah. And then they talk about the road of air. And it's like, do you know the road of air? And it's like, I know it very well. And to me, the road of air is teleportation. So there's
right.
to get to paradise, to get to these places, there's a road of air that you can take. And the Autarch knows it really well. So those are the clues that I feel like I picked out. They don't connect to anything. They're just pieces. And I was like,
feel like I'm on the road of air.
Yeah. The road of air. Oh, it's this vacancy in my skull.
Speaking of Father Anir, I don't remember where it happens, but there's a weird moment where Severian, the author, is like, "Oh, I asked Father Anir about it just the other day," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, A, Father Anir's still around.
He's kicking.
And B, like he and Severian the Autarch are bros and hanging out, and still like the power structure is still the same, it seems."
Yeah.
Which I was like, well, that was a wild little moment. It was like, oh yeah, I asked Father Anir about it. He's in the next room. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember that happened anyway. All right. So the play.
That was it.
Wild. I think it's great that you bring up the ogre story again. Wild that we get this novel that is got these other forms of writing inside it. He's got this other story. He's got this play. It's like, it's very interesting.
He told the story when he was walking through the forest of Father Anir's mirrors. He's like, it's stories within stories.
Yeah.
And mediums.
Right. And we're already in a story within a story, right? Because it's Severian's recounting. Yeah. Chapter 25, we kind of pop out of the play, and Severian is like doing that thing where you're on stage and you're like still like looking at the audience, like, look at everybody in the audience. Yeah. I've done it. I've been guilty of that. I've checked out the audience while I've been on stage.
Oh yeah.
And it's weird. This is one of the quotes that I pulled, so I'll be reading this later. But it's he's checking out the clearly exultants that are like standing on the side that are enormous, and they're wearing masks, and they pull off the mask and it's like an alien face underneath. Creepy stuff. But as he's kind of checking out the people, Baldenders does what Baldenders do, which is go apeshit on stage.
But they don't usually have I forget what they call them. The Praetorian Guard.
Yeah. Yeah. He leaps off the stage and he goes a little crazy. He's got this this torch that goes out, but he just starts swinging it like a mace and freaking people out. And then people are, shooting at him. His clothes catch on fire, but somehow he's not affected. And they call these, by the way, they call the people in the audience cacogens. Which feels like the aliens, like full-on space aliens. And Severian grabs his sword, Terminus Est. He freaks out. He's running. Everybody's kind of realizing that the play has gone terribly wrong. And he looks for Dorcas, can't find her. So he's like, oh, I just got reunited with Dorcas and now I can't find her again. Classic me.
Classic me. Time to run.
Yeah. So he's like wandering through the night. He's thinking back about Dorcas and Jolenta and basically like recounts everything that's happened in the two novels up to this point. He's like, man, remember those times? Remember that time I almost drowned? Remember that time I found that doggy? Remember that time? You know, it's like, what a life I've led.
Yeah.
What a book you've been reading.
Yeah. Anyway, time to go to bed.
Yes. Anyway, time to go to bed. Yeah. And when he wakes up, he smells the smoke of a campfire. You're not going to believe who it is.
He's always there.
They're always just right there
What's
when he
up,
needs
man?
them.
What are the chances? I thought you left.
So weird.
You thought we left. We're right here.
We both thought we left, and we're both right here.
Yeah.
It's Talos, it's Dorcas, it's Jolenta and Baldanders. Everybody's back together. Everybody's fine. Dorcas runs up to Severian, plants a smoocheroo on his face. Is so happy to see him. And there's like, I forgot earlier. There's that moment where Dorcas like breaks down crying because she knows that he's cheated on her.
I'm like, I don't know if she is just like, I know you went to go be with Jolenta, or if she breaks down crying because she knows that he assaulted Jolenta. Yeah, like it's not clear
either way, bad.
Exactly what she's crying about. But when he returns with Jolenta from the boat and his resentment of her nap, Dorcas is upset, and she got over that.
She got over it,
I guess.
She is this like, you know. There's a take on this that is like full misogyny, right? That the author Gene Wolfe is just a misogynist, and this is just an expression of a misogynist worldview. I think there's something more subtle going on than that, because it does seem like it is an indictment of Severian's point of view with regard to all this stuff. It doesn't seem to be. Severian doesn't seem to me to be presented as a sympathetic character when he's mulling over the various women in his life. Maybe that's me projecting, but either way, what I take away from it is like there's this very immature estimation of what is great about Dorcas, which is she basically has no personality without me. She is devoted to me 100%. She only exists to be, she's the Bechdel test, failed Bechdel test in, walking around. She has no autonomy. She only exists to be the perfect companion to Severian. And any other woman who has any other agency is sort of flawed and to be disdained in some way. And I don't think that's Gene Wolfe espousing that viewpoint of women. I think that's Gene Wolfe presenting a character in Severian that is deeply messed up and immature.
Yeah, I mean, it could, why not a little bit of both?
Maybe a little bit of both. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I also do think that Dorcas is like, she's had like weird, she mentioned at some point, he mentions things like once and so fleeting that I'm like, did he say this? Did I make this up? But I'm pretty sure at some point she was like, I feel like I'm losing my memories. Like she has little fleeting glimpses. Yeah. And I think that was her maybe having memories of her life before her death, or I don't know if she's losing her memories, but it does seem like she is unstable enough to everything you said about the writing, but then also having some kind of character reason why she might be like, it's fine, because she's too afraid to be alone and actively has brain problems.
Yeah. Jolenta describes what happened at the play. She's like, you don't understand. They started shooting at us. It was terrifying. But I found a guard that was super into me, so I was fine. No worries for me, because this guard was like, I'll protect you, baby girl.
She's like, and I thought I was finally going to get taken to like be in the House Absolute and like meet some exaltants who would take this with them. But I was immediately recognized as part of the troop and sent back out here. So here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that one moment where she's like describing the like awesome horse-like creatures that are pulling the thing. And she's like, I looked at those things and I'm like, someday I want to have those things pulling my cart. Like she's got this weird, like, I'm only doing this temporarily kind of mentality.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to find my sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Is the feeling.
Yes, definitely. And then Dr. Talos reveals, hey, not only was this play not a disaster that it may have seemed, we got paid real good.
Yeah.
We got some sick payouts from this one. We are legit rich, and we're gonna divvy up the money. Here's all your money. And Severian's like, well, this is way more than I expected to be getting from this.
We talked about the money earlier in the episode, but this is when the money scene happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And Talos is like, well, we only got this because of you, man. It's like this guy came up to me, servant of the Autarch, wanted to pay all this money specifically to see you in the show. He came up to me, by the way, when you and Jolenta were, I don't know, off doing your own thing. I don't know what you were doing.
I feel like, I don't know what happened. So weird. This is another thing. I'm like, this is just Dr. Talos going to like his own bank account. He's the Autarch.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem really
convenient.
Suspect. Yeah, convenient. Yes.
And nobody else saw him.
Right.
Yeah.
He just came up to me by myself and wanted to pay us all this money for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. So Dorcas is like, oh, Baldanders is all burned to a crisp. And this is where Talos is like, don't worry about it. He's still growing. He says it will regenerate.
That is something I highlighted too. I was like, he's regenerating?
Yeah, that's a sci-fi word, bro. Is
Baldanders a big robot too? Is everybody a robot?
Yeah. He's like, still growing. This is where he says, oh yeah, but he has gray hair. And they get to this sort of crossroads and like, okay, well, we're taking off. And Severian is like, hey, I can heal. Well, he doesn't say it. He's like, I need to be alone with Baldanders for just a pinch. And Talos is like, everybody's like, okay. Well, he says, everybody walk 100 paces that direction. And they all stand up. Jolenta goes one way. Dorcas goes another. And Talos is like, I'm not leaving. He's like, well, but I asked you to. He's like, yeah, well, he's going to tell me anything that you say to him anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm staying. We're one unit. And Severian's like, oh, God, fine. All right. Well, I wanted to heal him because I feel bad for his injuries. And I have this magical healing gem. Mm-hmm. And this is where Baldander says, I am his master.
Yeah.
It's like weird. And he tries to heal him, but it doesn't work. And then they're like, well, okay, I guess we're leaving. And he's like, you going to take Jolenta with you? And Talos is like, no, if you leave her, we're going to kill her.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, there's a couple things. One, I think it is so funny that Severian is like, I have this healing rock. And I'm like, do you have proof that it heals anything?
Yeah, I know.
Balance it on Jonas's face, and you're like, gotcha, buddy. You like have just made these assumptions about this, the claw, but I don't think that you know what it does at all. So that's very funny. He's like, I did it and it didn't work. Anyway, he must be weird. The rock's fine.
Well, my favorite thing is like everyone has told him to get rid of it and don't show it to anyone. He's like, all right, I can do this thing, but everybody has to leave. And tells like, I'm not leaving. He's like, all right, well, I'm still going to do
it. I love this. This is one sentence I pulled from it because it's just like another one of those things where I'm like, the claw seems like a bad thing to have, man. I don't wish to speak of it. Tell me about the Conciliator if you want to talk. No doubt it was foolish, but as soon as I mentioned the name, I felt the silence of the forest like a weight. The sighing of a little wind somewhere among the uppermost branches might have been a sigh from a sickbed. The pale green of the light-starved leaves suggested the pallid faces of starved children.
Not a great feeling you want to have.
Not really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have their moment. Jolenta is like, you got to take me with you, Talos. You have to.
Yeah.
And Severian's like, you got to do it. She's like upset because and Jolent is the one who's like, you don't understand. Everything's going to go away if this happens. Blah, 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 blah. Dr. Tal's saying, we'll kill her. And Severian's like, believe it when I see it.
Yeah, it's such a weird moment. He's like, sure you will. Okay, anyway, Dorcas, let's go. And they start walking away, and then they hear her screaming from being beaten. And Dorcas is like, what? He said he was going to kill her. And he's like, I didn't believe him.
Yeah, Dorcas was like, he said he was going to kill her, and why did you let her go? Like, that seemed crazy. And they turn around and they scoot back and try and see what's up.
Yeah, so she's not dead, but she has been beaten severely. Severian's like, well, I have a magic healing gem. I can heal you. It does not work.
It's not the rock. It's them.
Yeah. I'm trying everything I can. I'm holding up the rock that I keep in my boot. And then that's when Severian's like, well, let's talk about the Conciliator. And there's all these weird
that was the spot.
notions about, like, I heard he was a little boy. I heard it's not even a person at all, but just a concept of a person. Anyway, let's go to Thrax. Oh, I'm not going to Thrax. Maybe I'm going to go find the Penegreens.
Mm-hmm. And Dorcas asks Severian about his book. She's like, if you want to know, it's not in this book that you're carrying around, anything about the Conciliator. And he's like, he pulls out the book and he's like,
I can't read and walk.
Well, he says, I drew it out and I saw that it did. But since I can't read and walk, I put it back. It's like, you've been wanting to know about the Conciliator the whole time, and you didn't check the book that you have that's like a history of something. And he's like, oh, I didn't even think of that. I'll read it later.
It's so hard to read and walk at the same time. Anyway.
What a dum-dum.
Walking is more important. Let's go.
Yeah.
Weird chapters, man.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strange chapters.
Definitely got a few things out of order in the discussion, so apologies to everybody who, pulls it around. But a lot of little weird clues. It does feel like we're in sort of detective land with this, but
I'm kind of loving your Dr. Talos theories. I'm kind of loving them. I did not get there myself, but I'm loving them.
I've noted ever since last week, Gene Wolfe did it several times in these chapters where he'd say something and say, but this person did not understand.
Right.
And now I'm like, that is Gene Wolfe telling me I don't understand, either because I don't know, genuinely don't know, or he's telling me right now.
There's a lot of stuff. This book is written in that way of I don't expect you to get this right now, but I'm going to put it here, but you're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like that. It's interesting. You hold things in your brain and go, oh, something about that.
Yeah.
But we have been on our way to Thrax for, two halves of a novel.
But now we're going towards Thrax.
We haven't gotten any closer to Thrax this whole time. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know, man. This is a weird week for me for that in reading. I just there was definitely stuff that was interesting and cool and sparking stuff like you said, but it feels very dreamlike, very spinning our wheels, like not getting anywhere. I'm thirsting for a little more something drawing me through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is where I will do the obligatory. Please, everybody, don't confirm or whether or not the theories are right. We don't want to know. And the one thing that I have caught in the comments is that apparently there's wild stuff yet to come.
I think we only have one more week for this book, right?
I believe, we finish it up. I can double check quickly, but it would be the rest of this book, and I believe it has another appendix as well.
Right. Yeah.
So I will quickly confirm this.
Exciting stuff. But I'm less expecting any resolutions, knowing that this was all one big book originally.
Yes.
And how little resolution there was at the end of Shadow of the Torture, which is just literally like, I'm going to just pause here.
Anyway, we'll pick it up when we get back.
Yeah.
Definitely do not pick it up when we get back. Yeah, next week, chapters 27 through 31 and the appendix for this book. And then that will be the conclusion of Shadow and Claw, which is the first third of our
first volume. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Very, very fun. All right. I only have one section that I pulled, but it's pretty lengthy.
I think I pulled so many little guys. So you hit it up.
Okay. This is when the play goes horribly wrong. The flambeau had gone out, and he swung it like a mace. Someone fired a pistol. The bolt set his costume afire, but must have missed his body. Several exultants had drawn their swords, and someone, I could not see who, possessed that rarest of all weapons, a dream. It moved like Tyrian smoke, but very much faster, and in an instant it had enveloped the giant. It seemed then that he stood wrapped in all that was past, and much that had never been. A gray-haired woman sprouted from his side. A fishing boat hovered just over his head, and a cold wind whipped the flames that wreathed him. Yet the visions, which are said to leave soldiers dazed and helpless, a burden to their cause, did not seem to affect Baldanders. He strode forward still, and the flambeau smashed clear a path for him. Then, in the moment more that I watched for, I soon recovered enough self-command to flee the mad fight. I saw several figures throw aside their capes and, as it appeared, their faces too. Under those faces, which, when they were no longer worn, seemed of a tissue as insubstantial as that of the notules, which were such monstrosities as I had not thought existence could support. A circular mouth rimmed with needle teeth, eyes that were themselves 1,000 eyes, clustered like the scales of a pine cone. Jaws like tongs. These things have remained in my memory as everything remains, and I have stared again at them in the dark watches of the night. I am very glad when at last I roused myself to turn my face toward the stars and moon-drenched clouds instead, that I could see only those nearest our footlights.
So good. Crazy bug people.
Dude, 1,000 eyes clustered like the scales of a pine cone. Whoa, brilliant image. Jaws like tongs.
Yeah.
Brilliant image.
So good. So good.
I like how he reminds us, like, I don't forget nothing.
Yeah,
I don't forget nothing.
I like that I'm glad that you read that. It's shooting Baldanders, but hit his clothes, but must have missed his body. Maybe he's glamored like Jolenta is.
Yeah. Like, how is that even possible to hit your clothes and miss your body?
If you're wearing a big cape, the classic, like,
I guess.
I got that. But to me, that's like, and then he wasn't affected by it. Everybody's the odd.
But he just throws in there that, like, oh, we have laser pistols and swords and maces, but we also fight with dreams.
Yeah.
We fight with dreams.
That's a crazy.
Sick.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought
that
up.
Throws it right in,
Yeah. So this is Severian describing leading up to right before the play. We spent the watches that remained before nightfall in listening to Dr. Talos chaffer with various officials of the House Absolute, and in rehearsal. Since I have already said something of what it was to act in Dr. Talos' play, I propose to give an approximation of the text here. Not as it existed on the fragments of soiled paper we passed from hand to hand that afternoon, which often contained no more than hints for improvisations, but as it might have been recorded by some diligent clerk in the audience, and as it was, in fact, recorded by the demonic witness who dwells behind my eyes. But first, you must visualize our theater. Earth's laboring margin is climbed once more above the red disk. Long-winged bats flit overhead, and a green quarter moon hangs low in the eastern sky. Imagine the slightest of valleys, 1,000 paces or more from lip to lip, set among the gentlest turf-covered rolling hills. There are doors in these hills, some no wider than the entrance to an ordinary private room, some as wide as the doors of a basilica. These doors are open, and a mist-tinged light spills from them. Flagged paths wind down toward the tiny arch of our proscenium, and they are dotted with men and women in the fantastic costumes of a mask. Costumes drawn largely from remote ages, so that I, with no more than the smattering of history furnished me by Tekla and Master Palemon, scarcely recognize one of them. Servants move among these maskers carrying trays loaded with cups and tumblers heaped with delicious-smelling meats and pastries. Black seats of velvet and ebony, as delicate as crickets, face our stage, but many in the audience prefer to stand. And throughout our performance, the spectators come and go without interruption, many remaining to hear no more than a dozen lines. Hylas sing in the trees, the nightingales trill, and atop the hills, the walking statues move slowly through many poses. All the parts in the play are taken by Dr. Tallis, Baldenders, Dorcas, Jolenta, or me.
Dude, there's so much in that. There's so much in there. First of all, this is some alien-ass planet that we're on. You know? Green moons and bats flying. It's crazy.
Green Moon, they talked about how in the spacefaring age of Earth, they went and colonized the moon, which made it green.
Right.
So because they describe that, you're still picturing Earth as Earth.
Yeah.
But then there's so much other stuff. I know the bug peel. It's like,
yeah. And there's like, we're just doing a play, and there's like crazy bat creatures and robots walking around the side. It's like wild.
Yeah.
Secondly, the other thing that's crazy at the beginning where he's like, I'm not going to recount the play as it was written. I'm going to recount the play as I remember it, which is like, hey, Mr. Perfect Memory, aren't those the same thing?
As I remember it, and actually as Tekla remembers it.
Yeah.
So as recorded by the demonic possession behind my eyes.
Oh, interesting. I didn't read that as Tekla. I read that as this curse that I have of perfect memory. But I think it's more interesting the way you're reading it.
Yeah.
But either way, it's like him constantly telling us I have a perfect memory, and then when push comes to shove, it's always like, well, that's not how it actually was written.
I'll give you the gist.
That's not. It's just how I remember it. It's like, but you told me. It's a interesting novel to try to wrestle to the ground. You know what I mean? It's
people, second reads, third reads to really get it. And it is interesting that even just in pulling a quote that is like, oh, this is an interesting description of the thing, and going back and reading it again, even just at the end of a chapter section, it's like, oh, well, what does that mean? It's like, it's
so dense, and there's so many little things in there that you could just skip over in the course of reading, and then you're like, no, there's like really a lot revealed in that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Like we said, next time we'll have finished Claw of the Conciliator. So it should be a fun one next time. Please don't forget to send us in your topics. Lana, hope you enjoy the rest of your trip, and happy Father's Day.
Dark of a place to be, and you need an escape from reality. Open up those pages, it's sci-fi or fantasy, whatever genre you please. And join a book club, 'cause you won't read it on your own. Join a book club, so you'll be held accountable. It's just a means to an end, but you're doing it with your friends.